Alright, so new year, new season, 2026 split one for LCP. Full disclosure, I am on CFO, so I will be very heavily biased towards them. But yeah, let's get started. I'm excited for the new split. We'll start right by ranking the top laners. Let me just, uh, yeah. So I gotta remember Secret Whale's top laners, even though, uh, I think we won't see both, but you never know. So already I'm gonna put Rast at the top lane. Number one, I think he's really good. He plays his carry top lane. He's been practicing tanks to widen his champion pool because the FO's no longer doing two top laners; they're only doing one. So we're gonna see him play more champions. Kiaya is probably the other best top lane in the league. They'll be competing, and then I'll probably put Ejang as third. I do think this will be the top three. I don't think there'll be anyone competing here. The only other person I can see is maybe like not Kratos, but I think Florin has a chance to try to compete there. Florin is a rookie top laner. He's 18. He played 1 year in PCS on DCG, and they promoted. He is very promising. He's very good, but I don't know yet. The competition in top lane wasn't as strong as I would hope last year, so I'm not too sure how good he is. Even if he did well in PCS, that doesn't really mean he'll do well in um, LCP. I think Secret Whale's top laner, Hero or Pan, they're both kind of like mediocre. Didn't really see too much excitement out of them last year. Evie, I want to say is a good top laner, but I feel like in the last year he wasn't doing so well. Like in 2025 LCP, he had a very bad slump. Like he wasn't looking very good. He was losing a lot of lanes, playing fights. So I have to put him and Momo in the bottom two. Momo is a rookie, so there's a possibility Momo can maybe squeeze up here. But I think in your first year, I'm gonna set expectations low. Maybe he overtakes Evie. Maybe he can beat Auden or a hero. But I think for now, because it is his first split in tier one, he's gonna have to go through some growing pains. He will have Ray Farkey there as like a positional coach, I heard. So maybe he can actually learn a lot more. Having a positional coach is very nice and can help him improve. So there's always that. I think for jungle, we'll have to put him like this. So yeah, SOFM is playing, but I'm not sure how he will do because he hasn't played in a while. But I think Shadow will probably be the best. Jungler again, CFO representative. So his time in LPL, I do think he was looking pretty good on BLG. They were using double jungle, so you didn't see him as much as. But I do think his playstyle is very flexible and solid. Like he is able to cater to the rest of the team and help out carry laners like like top and mid, and even ADK like Doggo could use some of that. In terms of junglers, I do think Histo is probably the best, and then probably gonna put Kusha. I do think Histo had a rough year at the start of 2025, but towards the end, he was looking really, really, really like he had some really good moments, some really bad moments, but I just think it's kind of probably more of a choking thing. Inexperience, he's still really young. I think he just turned 18 last year. So he is on like the younger side. He's like 18, 19. Husha has been around for a while. He's a very like aggressive, like strong jungler, very vocal. So hopefully that him and Ejang can match up well and help each other perform because they will probably be the best players on round zero. I'm gonna move Van down here, and even though this might be kind of a crazy opinion, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think Citrus is kind of underrated. I do think Citrus can be very good. Um, Yeah, I think he when he joined DFM and him and Arya were popping off, DFM had opportunities to win. It was just like his champion pool is very like assassins based, like Kiana. He plays some Talon, I believe. Um, he didn't really look too good on like Sejuani, as far as I remember. So maybe his champion pool might hinder him performance in this game or in this year. I mean, but it should be okay. Jackdar's a weird one. I feel like he's like a side grade to like Levi, or maybe even a downgrade. I don't know if he's even better than Levi, but Levi retired, so maybe they have to like get him. I do think Jackdar did look okay in VCS, but VCS was kind of a weird split. Top 9, he is formerly known as 665, is a pretty good jungler too, but his problem is consistency. I would want to put him a little bit higher. Maybe I have to put Citrus a little bit lower in terms of like form or consistency. But for now, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be my hot take. Citrus is gonna be a split. You never know, dude. I don't know why Van is on SHG. I feel like there are better junglers in LGL even. Maybe they couldn't get them, or maybe they did some tryouts and they thought Van was just like the better performer. Who knows? But from my eyes, I do think he's probably gonna be the worst jungler in the league. So yeah, we're gonna look at mid lane. Dyer, Hunks, Xiao Shang, Gi. Yeah, Hong I think, is the strongest laner in this league. I do think his laning stats in LCKCL is really good. I do think he does a really good job dominating lane. His weakness is going to be the fact that he's an import and doesn't speak the language very well. So he's going to need some time to improve and communicate better. But in-game mechanical stuff, I think Tongyong is very strong. I think he can be individually the strongest player or the strongest mid laner in the league. It'll just depend on how he communicates and how he does macro play. But I do think Dyer needs to get a shout. I think Dyer and Histo will be the strongest duo 2v2 besides CFO. I think during 2025 they had some rough moments, right? But as I said, towards the end they were getting more consistent, more solid. Hongsul might be a surprise. I saw this guy in PCS. He was very, very good. I thought he was the best mid laner in the league by far. He was really popping off. Like, basically, like, there's so many moments where I thought DCG should lose, but because of Hongsul's performance, they were able to win. I think that's kind of impressive. I will probably put Kadi right here. Um, below RS. RS is a hard one because I feel like RS was the better mid laner of the two when they had Emo and RS in GAM last year, but his synergy with Levi was really bad, and they weren't really playing together well and taking control of the map. So hopefully, with a new jungler, depending on Jackdar's performance, that might help RS's performance shine even better. I don't have much to say about Kadi. King, I don't have much to say. He probably is not that strong of a mid laner. Well, I didn't watch too much LCS, but I didn't really hear too many good things about him. But maybe he can surprise me. LCS and LCP are different. Jibian is someone I want to see perform better. I'm not too sure where he'll be because in 2024 in FAK he was really strong. Like maybe he'd be up here, but on Chiefs he was really bad. But that could be the fact that he had 3 junglers, and every split he had a new jungler, so it was hard for him to develop synergy and develop like style. Also, I put SLFM. I don't know if I talked about SLFM, but I put SLFM down here because I think it's been like 3 years since we last saw him play, 4 years. And last time we saw him play, I think it was support in the match fixing era. So I don't know where to put him. And Cini, I didn't really watch too much of, and Xiaoshang barely played. And they're both rookies, so I would be surprised if they played. Like they might be subs, so might not see them play at all. For AD carry, I'm gonna have to go like this. So, again, no surprise, Doggo, number 1. I think Doggo is really strong. His only competition last year, I would say, would be like Betty. But even then, like, I think Doggo outperformed Betty almost every single time. So it'll be very surprising to see him falter this year. I think Artemis and Eddie are both really good. Artemis is probably the most consistent part of GAM last year. Kiaya was probably more consistent, better, but there were a lot of times where they put him on tank duty, where like the Scion and the Ornn, and Kiaya could not like really shine and take over the game as well. So that's why I probably would, even though Kiaya I do have him second best, because I do think he's a really good top laner. Depending on the draft, like I think Gam coaching staff kind of fucked him over in terms of drafts. Eddie's solid. He was a very solid part of Secret Wales because even though their top side wasn't that good, like their mid jungle was like inconsistent. But Eddie was always solid. I don't think there's that many games where I would look at Eddie and say he was the problem. But there weren't that many games where I would say like, oh yeah, Eddie's like the best player. He's like carrying the team. It's more like, okay, Eddie's there. He's doing his job. He's trying to carry, but he doesn't have that like power in him. Feng and Shun both play in PCS. They're both really good. So I don't really have too much to add. They're both really strong AD carries. Putin's a newer guy. I don't know too much about him. Marble and Kakun, I think they both had like down moments in the last year. Especially Marble. Like Marble had some really like underperformance KDA moments, which is kind of sad to see. And Kakun, he did roll off from mid to AD carries, so split 1 and 2, it was really bad. But I do think by split 3, he was able to find like a small champion pool that he is effective on, and a style where he can participate and help his team out without being a hindrance. I will say that LCP, even though like you might say, oh, Cochrana's the worst, I do think LCP AD carries are really, really strong. Like it's probably our strongest position in the league by far. Because like top lane, I would say top 3, jungle maybe top 3, top 4. Mid like top 3, top 4 is like really strong, but then like it kind of falls off. But for AD carry, I feel like you can go all the way down to like Cochrane and be like, yeah, you know what? LCP has really strong AD carry, so even if you're like 7th place, it's not that bad. Like really hard to move up, I think. In terms of supports, I'm just gonna do like this. So we'll have 274, Taki, probably Chelsea, Orca, Elio, Yay, Silong, Vista, and Gang. So 274 is a rookie. He is 17 years old. He's going to turn 18 this year. He did have some rough performances in PCS in the earlier parts, but I do think he found his groove and was able to like level up a lot. Like I think comparing him from Split 1 and Split 3 is like, crazy different numbers. So I do think 274, playing up with Doggo, a really strong AD carry, he'll be able to learn a lot faster than the other supports. And Doggo, because Doggo's a very aggressive, very strong, very smart AD carry, and he'll be able to help 274 get to that position and get to the knowledge level he needs to be able to compete with the rest. Taki is solid. I mean, he had some wonky performances in Secret Wales, but I do think the team lived and died by Taki. So if he didn't make those like game-winning plays, like no one else would. So that's why I think with a more structured team where like every position in theory can perform or be solid, Taki will be able to shine better and not have to take that many risks. Chelsea, solid support. Orca's also solid support. They both have like a pretty good champion pool, pretty good mechanics. Chelsea is probably more of the shot caller. He's going to try to make more plays. And that'll help with the fact that, Fong is solid and Hong So is pretty good. And maybe that Chelsea and Pop 9 together, they can make some good macro plays. Elio getting kicked is kind of interesting, and getting picked up by MVK is also interesting because Suilong, I feel like Suilong at the start of the year looked really promising, but towards the end, he kind of like plateaued and didn't really like perform too well. Like he wasn't really like a standout support by the end of the year. It's kind of sad to see. He is still really young, so hopefully he can get together. But if you're gonna get Elio, I don't think Silong will probably see play. He is solid. He played in VCS. He's probably the weaker of the other two VCS supports, like Elio and Taki. He probably might be better than Silong, more consistent. But I do think taking a chance on Ceylon and seeing if you can improve him will be good. Vista hasn't played in a year, so I don't know where to put him. And Gang on SHG wasn't good. So, I mean, like, you got Vista, it's a slight upgrade to Gang, but I'm really confused at the imports. Usually, when you have LGL teams, like, imports are usually, like, pretty solid. But I do think that in this scenario, it's probably the resident players that are better than the imports. This is really rare to see. Like usually you'll have like imports being really good and the residents not being so. So I mean SHG and DFM will have a lot of. The top two teams, CFO and GAM. I think these two teams will be trying to compete for first place. I do think Gam, like even though mid jungle might be like weaker on the board, like if their synergy is good, they could probably push a little bit higher. This is that I feel like these other players mechanically are much better, and his and Dire are just really solid. It's hard for me to put them a little bit higher, but they could probably be. I mean, realistically, you could probably put them fourth or third, but I'm gonna put him fifth for now. DCG, I think they kept most of their or all their players. They are a very solid team. Won every split in PCS. They had a good split one for Asian Masters, but then they didn't really perform after that. Secret Whales. The thing is, like, I want to put them higher. Like, I do think their mid jungle and 80k are solid, but the problem is their top and their support. Like, they downgraded support, they kept the same top laner, which is kind of like iffy. So it's gonna be difficult for me to put them higher. I will say then I'll probably put Ground Zero, then MVK. I think Ground Zero, the biggest question mark will be Jimmy. Can Jimmy perform? If Jimmy is going to stay bad, maybe I have to put Ground Zero a little bit lower. If Jimmy can get to like mid tier even, then Ground Zero could probably contest for top 3 and go to Worlds. Because I do think Ijang, Kusha, Shun, Orca is a very strong core. But when your mid laner is kind of on the weaker side, it's hard for me to put them up. Like I feel like teams with weak mids don't really do too well. And then again, I'm gonna have to put LG out the bottom. Unfortunately, like even though SoftBank did get Arya, I thought that was gonna be exciting, but then I found out there's jungle support wasn't that great. I kind of wasn't that good, or I wasn't feeling too good about them. TFM, they're kind of in a rough spot. I think getting Kaney is a pretty good option for them. Veteran. Hopefully, he can communicate with the rest of the team, help out. But then they got Gang, but if they want 3 Koreans, they have to get Gang. And then they kept Kaku, which is fine. I do think he improved a lot last year. And Momo's a rookie, so it's gonna take him some time. I'm not gonna expect Momo to pop off and improve in 1 or 2 splits. I'm hoping by split 3, maybe Momo can like level up and they can become a dark horse in playoffs. But I don't see them making any internationals. Yeah, that's my list. We'll have CFO, GAM, DCG, Secret Whales, Ground Zero, MVK, SoftBank, and DFM. So LCP starts soon. This is my list. Players to keep an eye out. Maybe top 3 in every position is someone you should look at and someone you maybe focus on. And yeah, I think the league in terms of power level will be a lot more closer than last year. I do think LGO is going to struggle, but the fact that we have 3 PCS and 3 VCS. Oh, okay, I didn't realize this. Okay, so yeah, PCS, VCS, PCS, VCS. Yes. It'll make a very interesting competitive year. I think top 6 will be much closer, and hoping that LGL can find like an upset or two or kind of level up and find more consistent. All right, that's it for me.